Today is the day you will lose fat. Come see Dr. T at NJ Diet.
Easiest diet I've ever done. It's changed my life. Come see Dr. T.
Using blood work and DNA testing. 1-855-5-NJ-DIET and NJDiet.com. Change your life in only 40 days with NJ Diet.
Well, Frank O'Hara is an Irishman, so he'll be celebrating St. Patrick's Day with the rest of us tomorrow. Frank O'Hara spent decades and decades fighting organized crime in this city. He's been on this show many times before. Very good friend of Mike Sullivan. Quickly, I had lunch with Sully and Serge from the Kiwanis Club of Howard Beach yesterday at Brennan and Carr, the landmark great roast beef restaurant in Brooklyn. Quick story, I'm trying to get back to the city afterwards. My train stops at Newkirk Avenue, doesn't move for an hour. Some idiot is running on the tracks, and the cops can't.
Oh my God.
They can't arrest him.
Shoot me.
So I got to run outside the train. I got to get home to get Gabe off the school bus at 3:45. It's 10 to 3, and I'm in Brooklyn, Newkirk. So I'm standing on the corner looking for a cab or a car service. Some guy pulls up. His kid gets in the car. He goes, "Hey, Sid." I go, "Hey, love you guys. Listen every morning. Get in." Swear to God.
Are you serious?
His name is Mike Breslin, and his son's name is Sean Breslin. He drives me and his kid. His kid to go to the city, too. He's on the same train all the way down to Prospect Park and puts us on an F train. So I finally made it back to New York City.
Go. An Irishman in Brooklyn.
Former cop loves you and I. So the Irish theme continues. Here he is, our very good friend, Frank O'Hara. Frank, good morning, pal. How are you?
Good morning, Bernie and Sid.
Hey, it's great to have you.
What's up, Frank?
So listen, there were two schools of thought here. The papers in New York explain them both, and we know that you know the real answer. One school of thought is Gene Gotti gets out of prison. He's sick and tired of things being run out of Sicily and Italy. He wants control back here like his brother had in the United States. So Gene Gotti wiped out Frankie Boy Cali. The other theory is this guy did something to piss off the Sicilians back home, and they had him whacked. Which one is it, Frank? Gene Gotti or the Sicilians?
My money's on the Sicilians.
Wow.
And why is that, Frank?
Well, Gene hasn't been out of jail that long. He's out, 6 months?
So you got September of last year he got out. That's right, yeah.
And I don't think he's had enough time to put a crew together to retaliate like that. And if he did, if he is the guy behind this, I wish I was back in the NYPD because I'd be getting a lot of overtime with the war that's about to break out.
Wow. Well, listen. Go ahead.
If he whacked Cali, it was probably without permission of anybody, and it was a renegade act. And they will come on to him like hell has.
But that's what his brother did. His brother took out Castellano, basically. Gene, it sounds to me like Gene is doing exactly what his brother did from a crime boss from the same borough.
Two differences. John built up a crew that nobody knew about. He had at least another 8 or 9 guys that were not made guys, but were with him because they knew they'd get made once he killed Paul, and they all did. And they were tough guys. Most of the capos that were in the family back when John killed Paul were old. They didn't want to go to war.
Right. Okay, so listen, Frank O'Hara, formerly NYPD, a big mob investigator. Gene Gotti was in prison, believe it or not, you know this, for 29 years, also with another guy named John Carneglia, who got out last year as well. Both of them for heroin, but the Carneglia guy was the alleged trigger man on the Castellano thing. Now, here's my question. Whether it was these two guys or the Sicilians, what significance is it that they did this hit right in front of his house instead of somewhere else?
That was the easiest place to hit him.
Okay.
In the old days, what they would do is they would let the air out of your tires. And you come out in the morning and you'd find a flat tire. But the new guys don't want to get up early in the morning like that.
Because it's funny you say that. It's a great question from Bernie because guys that I spoke to, Frank, who don't know nearly as much as you spent your whole life doing this stuff. They said it has nothing to do with where they hit him. They said it was just whoever wanted to kill him really wanted to make it ugly so that his own wife and his own kids saw him die. They could have killed him in New York City or someplace else. They say the fact they hit him in front of his house made it really, really personal.
Nah, the millenniums take the easy way out. This is like they stage an auto accident. They bang into his car. He comes out to survey the damage, and the guy pulls a gun and starts shooting him. Now, he dives under the car. That's what the press is reporting, and you saw pictures of the car and where all the shell casings were, it looked like he tried to get under the car.
Yeah.
Now, the killer wanted to kill him. No ifs, ands, or buts. He wasn't leaving there till he put a lot of lead into this guy, and he accomplished his mission.
By the way, he shot him 6 times. He shot him 6 times, and he ran him over. And believe it or not, Frankie Boy Cali was still alive as a Trauma 1 victim when he got to the restaurant. He died about 20 minutes later.
Damn.
I'll ask you this, Frank. If you're right and the Sicilians are responsible for this, what could possibly be their motive? Was he not paying them back home? Or what do you think this guy did to draw the ire of the folks back in Italy?
All right. His wife is a
Sicilian.
Is Sicilian, true.
Yeah.
And her family, the Inzarellos, were a very prominent mafia family in Palermo, Sicily. They got run out of town in the early 80s by Toto Riina. He was killing everybody. Her uncle was killed. A cousin at 14 who swore vengeance against Riina was killed. A 14-year-old, may he rest in peace. So her family was steeply entrenched in the Sicilian mafia in Palermo. Now, her brother, Tall Pete, same last name, is a made guy in the Gambino crime family. Her uncles, John Gambino, Rosario Gambino from 18th Avenue, John passed away in 2017, also from Sicily, Palermo, and in the heroin business. Now, they came to this country many years ago, the Gambinos, distant cousins to Carlo Gambino. When the war broke out, what they call the Second Mafia War in Palermo, back in the early 80s, they almost wiped her family out. And the Gambinos arranged for them to leave Palermo and come to the United States, with the deal that none of them would ever go back to Sicily. Well, a number of years ago, some of them did go back to Sicily. In fact, they moved into their own houses that they vacated when they left. Now, what's going to be interesting is Tall Pete, her brother, a made guy in the Gambino crime family, just lost his brother-in-law. He's related to many Sicilian mafia people through marriage. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, as an investigator, I would be watching the wake and the funeral to see who shows up and what shows up. If there is a big attendance from the Gambinos, that means it was from outside the family.
Uh-huh.
If nobody goes to the wake, that will signal that it was a sanctioned hit by the Gambinos.
Fascinating.
My money with the Palermo connection. And by the way, how's your budget? Can you send me to Palermo to keep digging into this?
Well, listen, we could do a fundraiser for it because I got to tell you, I'm enthralled by what you're saying.
Amazing.
Here. Now, also this Frankie Boy Cali, he's the victim here, maybe of the Sicilians, as you say. The word is that he imported Sicilians to do work here because they're less likely to flip. So what do you think maybe he did that caused them to be pissed off at him?
Well, there's a triangle here. The heroin business, when it's in Sicily, they do a lot of refining of heroin in Sicily. You have the Calabria mob. I can't pronounce their name, Ndrangheta, something like that. They are really evil people. They do have an alliance with the Sicilian mafia when it comes to drugs, somewhat. And from what I read and what I know is Frankie Boy was absolutely meeting with people from Sicily over the last 7, 8, 9 years, and they would come to America, and he would wine and dine them because he spoke Sicilian. His mother and father were from Sicily and traveled back and forth. They owned the business in Palermo. So it could be something with the drugs, with the Italian mafia. It could be the old adage, it's all about the money. You know, right. At the end of the day, it's probably about the money. But he did something.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a husband of some woman, that's for sure.
All right, 60 seconds to go. We'll wrap this up, Frank O'Hara. And there seemed to be this conventional wisdom, this complete misconception that since Gotti, the mob has been diminished or basically gone away. Listen, he's not on TV anymore. And somebody made a very good point yesterday that the federal government spends a lot of time now trying to tackle terrorism instead of the mob. But the truth is, the mob is still huge in every business, whether legal or illegal. They've got their fingerprints everywhere. True or false?
True. What it is, Sid and Bernie, they're not Hollywood anymore. John Gotti was Hollywood. Strutting down Park Avenue, going to Elaine's, going to Club A, $2,000 suits, John Miller chasing them down the block with a TV camera. They were Hollywood. When the Sicilians took over the family, the one guy, Che Falou, Dominic from Brooklyn, he restored law and order and old-time wise guy values. Go home at night, stir the sauce, have spaghetti with your family.
Well, that's
the Gambinos are definitely very strong.
Very strong.
okay. Yeah. All right. Well, so the mob lives.
The mob won, except for one today, Frank Calvin. Hey, Frank, that was really, really excellent stuff. You're great. We love having you on. And unfortunately, somebody's got to die again soon, so we can bring you back, okay?
Yeah, well, anytime. And I just want to give a quick shout-out to my agent, Mike Sullivan, the great Mike Sullivan.
He is great.
I'd also like to tell you who made him great. His brother, Brian Sullivan.
Oh, listen, Brian, former NYPD officer. I've known Brian actually longer than Michael, believe it or not, and his wife, Karen Barbano, even longer than both of those guys. He's a great guy, too. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, buddy.
You're the man, Frank.
Take care. The great Sullivan family. They're a great family. All right, that's we're only halfway done. That was fascinating.